It is time for our Realty Rant, and that means Vince Arcuri is back. This morning they have brought the CEO of Hillsborough Title, Aaron Davis, to discuss common misconceptions on title insurance. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
So yeah, title insurance. We've had a lot of people from your team. So happy to have you here this morning.
We had the main guy here. We brought the main guy.
Yeah, it's time.
I had to put the rest of the team up first and make sure that they were okay with it. They said, Aaron, you're
all happy.
Fine.
Oh, good. Well, so what are some things? We're going to talk about some misconceptions, but why did you want to bring Aaron in here today?
Well, I wanted to bring him in because one of the topics that I always feel like is very relevant in the real estate industry, consumers are not very familiar with title insurance. Many of them don't even understand why we need it. As a matter of fact,
what it is.
We were talking right before we started rolling, and one of the most common questions I get from consumers is why on my closing statement I'm buying a home, seller's paying title insurance, and then it shows up again on my side of the margin. Why is that? That is probably the most common question that consumers ask. So I figured we'd get answers. I'd go to the top
it's like, I don't want to answer it anymore.
And find out the answers to that.
Guess I don't get that. Sorry.
So why is that? Explain what does it do? Why do we need it?
Yeah, it's a question that comes up quite a bit. It's, what is title insurance? We're kind of this hidden industry. We're just a part of the real estate transaction. And what title insurance covers is you as the new owner of this property to make sure that you have free and clear title to this property. There are no hidden liens or judgments or old mortgages or ex-wives still in title with you. And what comes up with that policy on both sides of the table is the seller in this area of Florida, the seller typically provides the owner's policy for the new buyer. The buyer, if they're getting a loan on the property, they have to provide their lender with a lender's title insurance policy. So that's why you'll see two policies, but one is usually significantly more than the other. We call one's a simultaneously issued policy to the lender.
I got you. What if you're paying cash for a home?
If you're paying cash, then it's just one policy, and again, typically paid by the seller, but as Vince knows, everything's negotiable in a contract. So if it's cash, there's no lender, so no lender's policy is needed.
A question that I kind of just thought of, does it matter who has the title or where you're buying it from? I know you're very prideful of the team that you work with them, on a daily basis. Why is that? If it is just a part of the mortgage process, does it matter?
If I understand the question correctly, I think that just like any aspect of any real estate transaction, it's only as good and as solid as the people that are handling it, which is I always surround myself with the absolute best people in the industry. Put that cup of coffee down because this is important stuff we're talking about here. This could cost you financially. You're looking at a home is usually one of the largest investments that people make, and to have just your friend down the street because he's your friend handling it when there's a problem later, it could cost you the entire value of your purchase.
Do mistakes come up? Is this something that really has to be?
Absolutely. In our world, usually when there's a failure of title, it's a costly mistake. It's something you could have an overlap of property. So, you can own 10 feet of your neighbor's property or vice versa.
No.
Your house, if it was, sitting into an easement, so next thing you know, your utility company is saying, hey, I need to dig up your pool because we've got to dig this up and lay some new conduit and some wiring down. So you see all sorts of stuff, and you also see where, again, maybe there was a probate, maybe mom and dad had passed away, the kids inherited the property, and in that situation you have to run title on the kids and make sure they all have, free of judgments themselves. So what happens if Billy and Susie are upstanding citizens, but then their brother Johnny is a jailbird and's got $1 million IRS tax lien against them? Those are the types of things that come up in our world, and that's what title insurance solves, is making sure that the biggest investment of most people's lives is covered.
And I know we're running short on time.
But we have about a minute left. So what's our take home?
We actually, Ron Donaldson, one of the people at Hillsborough Title that I've been working with for 26 years, he actually solved one of those problems that you mentioned with the easement, the pool, and it was rectified. They did a great job.
How frustrating, I'm sure.
It freaked everybody out, but they solved it prior to closing. Had it happened after closing, the buyer would have inherited that problem, and I think that was about 15, 20 years ago, and he still hasn't sold the home, he'd be selling it now and running into that problem. So thankfully it was solved way back then.
Yeah. Well, again, so nice to finally meet you again.
Thanks for having
wonderful
me.
things about you. And again, Vince, what I love, he's, in case you haven't figured it out yet, very keen on education, letting people know, and surrounding yourself with good people around you.
Absolutely.
A good team.
That's why I'm here on the Morning Blum and the best Tampa Bay morning show.
We think we have a good team. We're glad to have you a part of it, Vince. Thank you so much. As always, for more information, there's the number to call, the website to find all the past segments as well. So thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you next week. Hey, before